All right, the next presentation will be on 6, and for this work scope, Bruce Halbert will be the technical point of contact. I'm going to skip over the introduction slides. So in the Advanced Instrumentation, Information, and Control Systems pathway, we're addressing the long-term aging and reliability concerns related to the existing, mostly analog information and control systems technologies at the plant. So we're looking at strategies to implement long-term modernization of these systems, mostly through moving toward digital technologies, develop, test, and deploy these advanced technologies, look at lessons learned through pilot plant demonstrations, and also look at advanced condition monitoring technologies to monitor, detect, and characterize aging degradation. So I'll turn the presentation over to Bruce Halbert.
Thank you, Rich. As Rich mentioned on the previous slide, we have a strategy to implement long-term modernization of instrumentation, information, and control systems. Next slide, please, Rich. And at a summary level, from our technical program plan, which is available on the LWRS website, this is what our strategy looks like. Again, in a summarized sort of form. The summary here represents a number of projects carried out over a number of years together with our industrial partners who are the commercial nuclear utilities in the U.S. And they're focusing in 6 areas. The areas are human performance improvement for nuclear power plant field workers, outage safety and efficiency, online monitoring, integrated operations, automated plant, and hybrid control rooms. The rationale for why these 6 areas, I won't go into that here today, but those are described in our technical program plan. The plan is updated annually, and the projects and their relationship to one another change a little bit annually in relationship to prioritization, completion of activities, funding, and things like that. On this slide, I have circled one activity. It's entitled Outage Risk Management Improvement, and that relates fundamentally to the call area that I'm going to describe this year. Next slide. So the background for the technical area of this year's call is that during a number of recent outages and plant shutdowns, there have been safety challenges, and these include potentially safety significant events that are documented in the second bullet here, and references to LERs or licensee event reports are included here. If you're interested in knowing more about the background, the specific types of events that we're concerned about that sort of led to some of the call that we're focusing on, I would encourage you to look up some of these events that are referred to here. Just to summarize, though, at a high level, what these types of events represent, though, they represent events where some of the conditions in the plant during the outage and the shutdown prevented fulfillment of a plant safety function, or where shutdown cooling was lost in mode 5 during refueling. There were also several events in which there was a drain path that was potentially established that could have led to draining of the reactor pressure vessel, one with secondary containment inoperable and another without. And finally, there was an event in which fuel movement was conducted without all the necessary technical conditions in place for that to be done the way that it needs to be done. So when you look at those types of events and you say, what kinds of events do those represent? Those include some, potentially safety significant events. Looking across those events and looking beyond the details, some of the things that we notice about them is that A, all these events were prohibited by technical specifications. B, they all resulted in work stoppage while the plant figured out what the condition was, how to resolve the condition safely, and then how to recover from the condition so that they could continue with the outage for refueling. In addition to just those activities, this also results in what we call cause analysis, apparent cause analysis, root cause analysis, subsequently corrective action analysis, and this is all set against the backdrop of an ongoing outage. So it really eats up bandwidth of the organization, necessary bandwidth because of our focus and our attention to detail, especially on matters related to safety. But it reflects the inherent complexity in managing outages and outage operations, and doing so correctly in light of all the different safety requirements, technical specification, and limiting conditions of operation that outage managers and work organizations have to address and accomplish. Next slide, please. That being the background, and given our past work in outage management, we decided to have a call this year on outage safety improvement. And we want to focus on research on technologies that could help bring into focus and account for all the different technical specifications, limiting conditions of operations, and other requirements that are important to safety. At the same time, account for ongoing and planned work, scheduled tasks, scheduled task durations, including the uncertainty inherent in those scheduled tasks, what happens when tasks take longer to perform than when they were scheduled to perform, and how that affects the overall picture of ongoing work in relation to plant safety requirements. Because this is the way sometimes that we get into bind with technical specifications. Now, you know, I think we're beyond the limit here of what we would think of when we talk about traditional spreadsheets and planning tools. So we're very interested in potential technologies like big data, business analytics, and other cutting-edge solution technologies that have been used to go out and gather lots of information, bring it together, and search for and find and organize in a way that supports insight in particular. Because what we desire really is a picture of the current here and now, especially given the large number of concurrent ongoing activities during a plant evolution during an outage, as well as the ability to look ahead. And the ability to look ahead in particular implies for us the ability to foresee and predict conflicts or challenges that may arise that relate especially to safety. But you could also imagine applying these same technologies to improve outage efficiency. But we're focusing principally here on outage safety improvement. So that's kind of the gist of the call. Another thing that we're very interested in is the user. So once we're able to gather this information and bring it together, we have to recognize that there are many people who would be potential users of it. There's outage management. There's the different work disciplines that execute tasks during outages, such as engineering, operations, maintenance, radiation work control, schedulers and planners, management. And then, of course, there's different types of information that a system like this could bring together and make available. So there could be overview displays, there could be alerts, there could be emails, there could be collaboration technologies. So we're interested in what people might come up with as potential solutions for presenting the results of, analytics and other types of applications. As I mentioned to you on my one of my previous slides, most of the work that we do, most of the research we carry out is conducted with commercial nuclear power plants. And so one of the things that would be important to us and important to you if you submit a proposal in response to this call area is how to address this research and how to carry out research in an actual plant setting during something like an outage. Now, that's a great opportunity if you're really interested in seeing your ideas and your technology in action. We can also get data with some of the plants that we worked with from prior outages. So that's a technique that we use to sort of benchmark some of the technologies that we work with for outage visualization techniques. But it's something that we're very serious about in this research is development with the notion of deployment and testing in real plant environments. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up to any questions that people have.
We do have 2 questions that came in for RC5. Is Keith still around?
Yeah. Finish his lunch.
Yeah. Or Rich, you may be able to answer these as well. How many awards do you anticipate for RC5?
I think it depends on, obviously, the quality of the applications we receive. 2 or 3 are possible.
On degradation testing, would destructive testing, e.g. pulling physical samples for spent fuel pool degradation research, be allowable?
No. No.